Welcome to the Cory Lee Show, where our focus is on building leaders and transforming culture. My name is Cory Lee, and in each episode, I aspire to ignite something on the inside of you that encourages you to grow yourself and to make an impact on the world around you. Welcome to the Cory Lee Show. Welcome back to the Cory Lee Show. Hey, got an exciting episode today. Hey, this is the first episode in our new podcast recording studio here in Tupelo, Mississippi at the Well. And just excited about the conversation we're going to have today. This is a solo cast, and really it was birthed out of, I'm doing this goal setting workshop coming up, and we're going to do it in June. And this is something that I typically do at the very beginning of the year. But I thought about, a lot of times people will set goals at the beginning of the year, and then about February, March, April, you've totally forgotten about those goals. And so really want to kind of stir up that passion, stir up that vision within people, and really make the second half of 2024 better than the first half of 2024. And that's what we're calling that workshop, is second half success. And so today's podcast actually comes out of that. I was thinking about, I don't know how many of you out there are listening that maybe you've had this big goal, this big dream, this kind of desire that is deep within you. And then you've been dreaming about it for a while, and then you build up the courage to actually take that step, and then it falls flat. Have any of you ever experienced that? I don't know about you, but I have. I don't know if you've had that experience where you go out there and it just doesn't work out. And so if you have, you've probably experienced disappointment. See, disappointment is this gap between my expectation and my experience. My expectation was here, but the way it played out, the outcome was way down here. And that gap is called, that gap between my expectation and my experience is actually disappointment. And this gap, it will cause many to sit on the sidelines of life. And undealt with disappointment, y'all, it leads to fear and settling for mediocrity. And I drew this fancy picture. If you're listening to it on audio, you're not seeing this, but what we have this idea of what success is supposed to look like, and it's supposed to be pretty. I've drawn this picture of a smiley face and a straight line up to a star. That's what we think success should look like. But I want to show you, and you can check this out on YouTube, the reality of what success is. That's what reality is. It's a bunch of squiggly lines. You got a smiley face, and then the squiggly line goes all over the place till you finally reach your star. And I think we think that success is supposed to be easy, that it's supposed to come quick and it's supposed to come easy. There shouldn't be any hiccups. And if there is some kind of hiccup, then something is wrong. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, he says that most people, they throw their arms up, they quit at the very first sign of opposition. But then he said there are a few people who carry on despite all opposition. And I love this story that my friend Chris Payne, he uses a lot, this analogy, and he talks about this biodome. And in this biodome, they put all these plants in there. They put some trees and flowers and shrubs, and they created this perfect environment for all these plants to grow. It had the perfect sunlight. It had all the perfect atmosphere. They would water it perfectly, and the plants would start to grow. The trees and the flowers, they would start to bloom, and they would grow. And then over time, the trees gotten taller. And one day, the scientists come in, and this one gigantic tree had fallen over. And they're like, man, what in the world happened here? And as they started to dig and to study it and to research it, what they found was the tree had become so top heavy, and the roots weren't very strong. The roots weren't deep. They weren't wide. And what they found was, because it was in the perfect environment, it didn't have to deal with any of the problems. It didn't have to deal with the weather. It didn't have to deal with the storms or the winds of life and the seasons of change. And so it's only through those challenges and the seasons of life that tree would be blown to the right, and that those roots would dive deep. It would be blown to the left, and those roots would dive deep into the ground, causing it to be strong. And see, I think many times we think success should be simple and it should be easy, but it's through the challenges that we often develop the character. We develop the staying power. And I want to read you this. This is I love this quote by Michael Jordan. He says, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career." How about that? He said, "I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I have been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed." He said, "I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." See, to be the best in the world, it comes by not only success, but failure. See, we tend to think success and failure are two totally opposite things, but they are actually two sides of the same coin. See, our successes help us to be bold. It helps us to boldly move forward in our failures, while failure keeps us humble in our successes. You can do your own research, but every single great athlete, every single great sports team, every single truly great and impactful business, every great move within society, it first started with those who had the grit to carry on while momentum was being built. See, if you followed my podcast or you followed my stuff for a little bit, you know that I love to say that belief brings out the best in people. Belief brings out the best in people. Every single great person I've ever met, every single great person I've ever read about, they all say the same thing. He believed in me before I believed in me. She believed in me before I believed in me. Most people start on the borrowed belief of other people, but let me tell you something. It is easy. It is easy to believe in people when they're already doing awesome things. See, it's easy to believe in people when they've already got a pile of accolades. But it's a whole other thing to believe in people before they've earned the right to be believed in. And I think the same thing is true for teams, whether that be business or sports, it doesn't matter. See, it's easy to be a bandwagon fan. I'm a huge Cubs fan. And so in 2016, when they won the World Series, finally, it's easy to be a bandwagon fan. It's not easy to be a Cubs fan when they're losing 100 games per year, right? That's not easy. And so I'm sure there's people out there that have disappointments. And I just want to help you with a little bit of disappointment with one word. I want to help you deal with that disappointment that you may have had personally as you continue to pursue greatness, because I believe greatness is in you. I believe you are called to do amazing things, that you are created in the image of God, that you are no accident, you are no mistake, and you are no failure, because God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make accidents, and He doesn't make failures. So accidents, mistakes, and failures are events, not identity statements. And so the word I want to give to you and kind of spend the rest of this podcast on is the word preparation. Preparation, right? That doesn't sound like a fun word. It doesn't sound exciting, but you know what? Preparation has a payment plan, and it is an upfront payment, but it's also a continual payment. And so I want to give you a couple of thoughts as you think about preparation. Many of you know some of my favorite speakers and authors and thought leaders are some of the old ones like Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and even John Maxwell. But some of these thoughts come from them, and some of them are my own. But the first thought when I think about preparation, number one, is that you got to understand that most overnight successes were 20 years in the making. Right? We see the result, but we don't see the work that goes on in the background. I love the Joe Frazier quote where he says that champions aren't made in the ring, they're merely recognized there. I love that. And I was actually doing this training with the team one time, and we were talking about that. And one of the ladies, she came up to me at the end of the training. She said, I like that Joe Frazier quote, but our daughter plays travel softball. And they've got a different saying that's kind of in the same vein. She said, our daughter's team, they say trophies aren't earned at the tournament. That's just where you pick them up at. See, I like that. See, it's not necessarily what you do in the lights. It's what you do in the dark. Because what we do in the dark eventually will be brought to the light. The preparation or the lack of it that we do in the dark, it always will be revealed in the light. And so most overnight successes is actually 20 years in the making. Number two, you must start where you are to get where you want, right? And many times I get the opportunity to do one-on-one coaching with leaders and leaders from all over the country and really the world. And there's this phrase and this thought that often pops up is, whenever I get that new promotion, whenever I get that new role, then I will. Whenever I make more money, then I will start tithing. Whenever I get to a certain point in life, then I will actually spend more time with my wife and the kids, or my husband and the kids. I'll make more time for the other relationships in my life, but I got to get to this certain point. And what I want you to know is that I will wait until is not a strategy for success. You got to do here and the now so you can be prepared for the then and the there. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Cory Lee Show. Y'all, I am on a mission to build leaders and to transform culture. So if you're looking for a speaker who speaks directly to the heart, a mentor to come alongside you and your team, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a personal coach who embraces where you are and also believes in who you could become, then I would be honored to walk this path with you. Simply reach out to me on my email at Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com. Look, let's make your vision a reality. Contact me and together we'll navigate the path from aspiration to achievement. Your transformation, it starts now. I love what Andrew Carnegie, he said, if I didn't tithe on my first 100, there's no way I would have tithed on my first million. You got to start where you are to get where you want to get to. See, don't become something, be something. To become something is to put it off into the future, is to put off into the future what should and could be done today. If you can be found faithful with the measure that you currently are given, then you will be found faithful with what's not yet yours. Number 3 is if you really want to do something, you will find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. How about that? I don't know if that's true for you, but I've found that true in my own life. If I really want to do something, I'll find a way. I'll turn over every rock. I will look for ways. I will search for ways. But if I don't, then I'll find an excuse. I'll do just enough to make it look like I tried, but I won't give everything I've got to try to find the solution or to make it a reality. So if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. I can remember I was working at a physical therapy office one time, and I learned this. We were there, and we had a new front desk lady who was starting, and she'd been working there for a few weeks, and the owner of the clinic came to her and said, "Hey, I need this guy's number. Can you find this guy's number and get it to me?" And she spent about 5 to 10 minutes. She rummaged through her office, went through some desks, went through some drawers, couldn't find anything. And she finally came back to the owner of the clinic and said, I can't really find it. I've searched for 5 to 10 minutes. I can't find anything on that guy's number. And the owner got up, went into her office, searched through some drawers, dug through some papers, went through a filing cabinet, finally found a piece of paper that had a website on it. He goes to the website, he gets onto the computer, goes to the website, goes to the contact us page, finds the number, makes the call, and has the conversation that he needs to have. After the conversation, he goes back to this office manager and he let her know. He told this young lady and told her and said, never say you can't again. Don't tell me you can't do something ever again. And what a powerful lesson that was for me, that if we really want to find something, then we'll find a way to make it a reality. But if we don't, we'll make half-hearted attempts to have the appearance of actually trying. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, one more time, he tells the story of Henry Ford. Henry Ford, he made the Model T. He also invented the assembly line. But as they were going for several years, he wanted to create a V8 engine. So he wanted all 8 cylinders to be in actually one block. And so he drew it out on a sheet of paper. He gives it to his engineers and says, "This is what I want. I want all 8 cylinders in one block." And they looked at him and said, that can't be done. That's never been done. And they gave a list of all the reasons why it could not be done. And Henry Ford looked at him and said, "Go ahead, make it happen." They walked away discouraged and upset. And so they spent 6 to 7 months trying to figure out a way to make this happen. they come back to Henry Ford and said, hey, we've tried this and this and this, and none of this worked. I told you it was not possible. Henry Ford looked at him and said, that's fine. Go ahead. Make it happen. And multiple times this happened. And then finally, over several months, over several lengthy period of time, they, like with a stroke of genius out of the blue, they come up with a solution and create the 8-cylinder where it's built into one block. And so as I think about preparation, one of the coaches that I really admire was Coach John Wooden. One of the things I guess I admire about reading about Coach John Wooden was that not only was a great basketball coach, but he was a great developer of people. He would have these young men come out of high school and into college. He was the college basketball coach at UCLA. He's won more national championships than any coach ever. He's won, I think, 10, I think. I think he was won 10 national championships. And then as you look at the list, the next behind him is Coach K, who has 5, right? And so he's doubled up everybody else. But he would have these young high school young men come in and play for him, and he develops them into men. And I want to read you this story about one of the first lessons that each one of these new basketball athletes learned, right? So you think about you coming in, you get the opportunity to play for one of the greatest coaches ever, and you're looking forward to being around all these other athletes who are probably the best in the nation as well. And you're looking about practicing with them, doing the shooting drills, and they have their very first practice. And they come in, and here's the lesson. Coach Wooden would come in and say, he would say, we're going to learn how to put on our socks and tie our shoes. How about that? He says, we're going to learn how to tie our shoes. He would come in and say, you want to first put your socks on, and slowly with care, you want to pull them over your toes. And you think about a freshman that's sitting in this, and you got to be thinking, is this a joke? And you start to look around, and you can see the upperclassmen actually listening and intently doing and slowly and patiently doing exactly what Coach says. And you're thinking, like, is this a joke? Like, where are the layups? Where are the shooting drills? Where are the defensive schemes? And then Coach Wooden would say, now you want to move your sock up just slowly, and then to here, and pull it up to here, and then you want to slowly smooth out all the wrinkles, nice and tight. You want to take your time, and then take your shoe, and you want to lace them from the bottom, and you want to carefully and slowly, and getting each pass nice and tight, snug here, snug, snug, snug. And after the lesson, you can imagine the freshman would go to an upperclassman. It's like, what in the world was that all about? We here to play basketball. This is something I learned in pre-K, right? And the upperclassman would say, see, if you get a blister in a big game, then you're going to suffer, and you're going to slow down. If you suffer and if you slow down, then the team will suffer. That doesn't happen here. So your shoes, if untied or if tied improperly, they can come untied during a close game. But if you do them properly, that will not happen. See, we prepare the little things to allow us to focus on the big things. Preparation in the here and now, it equips us for the moment when your number is called. Preparation with the small things, the insignificant things, it matters. Those small things, they matter. One of the biggest challenges to standing in a place called here and knowing that you're made to do something significant, or to stand in a place called there, or to be a part of something significant, is the process. I often call it the seasons of waiting. And I want to end this podcast with a poem that I wrote that I call Seasons of Waiting. There's a yearning buried deep within the heart. Its call is to step in to greatness. The sound of its voice is deep and strong, yet it is so distant, like a magnet that's being drawn to higher heights. There's a pull, a tug, a nudge, but to where exactly you're not quite sure. There's a knowing that you were made to be out in front, to be in the spotlight, yet you feel so hidden. It's a season of waiting. Make good use of this season. Do not despise the season. To despise it is to waste it. Don't rush this season. See, to rush it is to leave yourself underdeveloped for the moment when your number is called. You want to embrace it. This season offers insights into where, to what, and in whom your trust is placed. the strengths to be developed and weaknesses in character that need to be dealt with. This season offers opportunity. It's the opportunity to bridge the gap between current ability and potential ability. Where you are going, your strengths must be strengthened. Talent must be improved. Character must be rock solid. Skills, talents, and abilities, those things can get you an invite, but it's character that keeps the invitations coming. See, ultimately, where, what, and in whom you place your trust, this is the defining decision of this season. Many options will appear before you. You have money, influence, a large network of people, your own ability to make things happen, the government, a business, or an organization, a certain relationship, the Lord, tons more options. The decision is foundational. This decision right here is foundational. A foundation is what all the rest will be built upon. Consider well the options before you. How solid is that foundation? Is it fickle? Does it change with the seasons? Will it need constant repair? Is it dependable, durable, and unshakable? Make good use of the season. If taken lightly, it can set you back or keep you where you are. Taken intentionally, it can pull you up to where you were designed to be. See, you are no accident. Your life has purpose. The season of waiting is time for discovery, what you're made of and what you're made for. The season of waiting is time for building and becoming, to become the type of person that's built from the inside out, not the outside in. See, inside out develop strength to stand under the weight of destiny. Embrace the season. Embrace the moment. And when your moment comes and when your moment finds you prepared, do not apologize for the harvest you reap. If this moment finds you unprepared, do not make excuses. Do not cast blame. Do not point the finger. And above all, do not give up. Learn the lessons offered from this season. Pull yourself up. Take full responsibility. Give it another go. Another moment is just around the corner. And I'll wrap it up with Psalm 27:14. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Hey, I hope today has added value to you. If it has, I ask that you share it with somebody else. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member, share it with your mama and them, whatever. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the latest episodes of the Cory Lee Show. I hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.